What is up, everybody? It is I, Ronin. Today we are learning how to play some Amazonas. So I had some fun deck ideas to try with Amazonas for the bad deck ideas, but I didn't know anything about the archetype to start outside of like it was battle heavy and all that. So I decided that before jumping into some sick Amazonas plays, I would learn the basics. So yeah, this is a basic Amazonas deck that I put together. There's some interesting ratios that I found I liked in here, so I will need to explain those. But beyond that, there is nothing super unique about this deck that I don't think. But yeah, let's just get right into the deck profile. So starting with our monster lineup, we have 3 Amazoness Queen, 3 Amazoness Swordswoman, 1 Amazoness Tiger, 3 Amazoness Princess, 3 Amazoness Spy, 3 King of the Swamp, and 3 Amazoness Baby Tiger. So the interesting ratio that I found is running more than one queen, because technically speaking, you only need one queen. But as I was playtesting this and getting replays and such, I did find that the queens just got handled too quickly, and the only thing that they really floated at, there were only a couple things really float into them from the graveyard. It got banished as hard, so I chose to run 3 queens. But basically, level 6 Earth Warrior and Amazon's monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. That's all of them. It synergizes awesomely with Swordswoman, makes it safe to use your princess's effect to summon Amazonesses from the deck. It kind of clashes with Spy, weirdly enough, but generally speaking, Spy is just material for something else, and it will protect our Amazon's fusion monsters, which I'll go over later. So yeah, pretty good. Now we have Amazon's Swordswoman, interesting one. Level 4 Earth Warrior, and its effect is that your opponent takes any battle damage you have taken from battles involving this card. So, say somehow Amazon's Swordswoman's attack gets zeroed out, it attacks into, I don't know, Chaos Max, your opponent's taking the 4,000 instead. This is sort of the interesting idea I wanted to play around with Amazon Swordswoman OTK, because it is a pretty unique OTK strategy to go for. But yeah, it's a great card. It's something you can just summon and have it sit there. Your opponent has to deal with it one way or other. Pretty sick. Now we have 1 Amazoness Tiger, a level 4 Earth Beast monster. You can only control one of it at a time, and it gains 400 attack for each Amazoness monster you control, as well as redirecting all of your opponent's attacks to it. So, I mostly run it because it's fine at 1. It's an extra material, possibly, for Pet Liger. Uh, like, honestly, I still feel very questionable about running this even at 1 because Baby Tiger kind of fills the role a little bit better. But yeah, it's not a awful card. It's good in a pinch to have. Extra material if you really need that Liger, so keep an eye out. Now we have, well, effect-wise, the best Amazoness monster, Amazoness Princess. It is a level 3 Earth Warrior with 1200 attack and 900 defense. It becomes queen while it's on the field or in the graveyard. And if it's normal or special, you can add an Amazon spell trap from your deck to your hand as a card once per turn. And once per turn, when this card declares an attack, you can send one other card from your hand or field to the graveyard to special summon an Amazoness from your deck in defense position. So, generally speaking, you want to use this to search any of your Amazon spell traps because they're all pretty good, all pretty necessary. We'll go over. Generally, you'll be searching Call though for deck fitting purposes, but we'll go over that later. And the attack effect is actually surprisingly useful. It lets you summon a queen from deck, so it can protect it while it attacks. Lets you get a swordsman, possibly a tiger if you need to play defensive, spy if you want to do some floating, and baby tiger if you want to do just some resummoning. So always run this at free, and any build you have with this is just too good. Now, another very good card actually, Amazon Spy. It's a level 3 Earth Warrior with 800 attack and 1200 defense. And you can special summon it by revealing another Amazoness monster in your hand, and and as a hard one's return, sorry. And when it's destroyed by battle instead of the graveyard, you target an Amazonas in your graveyard, except itself, return it to the hand, or shuffle into the deck. So, generally speaking, what you want to do is use Spy, reveal Tiger, summon both. Hopefully, you have a Princess. Summon Princess, get Call, use Call to get Ambush or Village. Let this die by battle because Princess is probably going to die in battle. Sorry to say. And then you can just get your princess right back. Or even if you use it as material for a fusion or link summon, uh, yeah, Spy is just great. Now we have King of the Swamp, water level 3 aqua monster. You can discard it to search a polymerization. And when it's on the field, it can count as any one specifically named fusion material. Since our two fusion monsters require specifically named monsters, it's very good for the consistency boosting factor that it has. So, generally speaking, it's probably a little bit overkill to be running free poly free this, but I like having it this way. Ensures you'll always have that fusion play available to you, and I think that's pretty nice. Now for our last monster, we have Amazona's Pet, or Amazon's Baby Tiger. The OCG name is Pet Baby Tiger, so yeah. It's level 2 Earth Beast. When a Amazonas is normal or special summoned, you can special summon it as a hard once per turn from your hand or graveyard. It gains 100 attack for each Amazonas card in your graveyard, and it counts as Amazon's Tiger while on the field or in the graveyard. So it's really good recursion, a great way to get materials. Again, more fusion material for that pet liger. So, yeah, honestly, just don't go without it. It gives the deck a lot of swarming ability that it kind of really needed. So, yeah, it's pretty solid. Now we have the spell lineup, which takes up most of the deck. We will go over the staple things first. The things are like a line of text or two, because the Amazonas spell traps are the real thing. Polymerization, it lets you fusion summon things. Reinforcement of the army, add a level 4 lower warrior from your deck to your hand. That is most of our deck, so it's good. Terraforming, add a field spell from your deck to your hand, the village. Called by the Grave, quick effect, banish a card from the graveyard and negate that card's effects till the end of your next turn. So, yeah, stops hand traps. We need to do searching and summoning, so we're good on that front. Twin Twisters, this is a beatdown style deck, so spell trap removal is perfectly fine to have in here, especially considering the amount of stunny type decks there are about nowadays. And now we get to the actually interesting things. Amazonas Call and Village. So Call is quite frankly one of the best archetypal search cards ever. So is a quick play spell. Lets you take an Amazonas card from your deck, except itself, to either add to your hand or send it to your graveyard. So you can add a princess, a village, a ambush, any of your Amazonas monsters, or send a tiger if you want to. So it's pretty good. And you can banish it from your graveyard to target an Amazonas monster you control. This turn, that monster can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and other monsters you control cannot attack. You can only activate one Amazonas call per turn. So, this facilitates Swordwoman quite well, or if you have just a big monster, you can continuously just beat over everything, as well as graveyard setup and searching, and it's searchable itself, so, like, there is no reason not to have this free. And now we go to Village. So it's Field Spell, gives all Amazonas monsters 200 attack, and once per turn, when an Amazonas monster is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon Amazonas from your deck with a level less than or equal to the Amazonas monster in the graveyard. So if you get Queen, you can float into the rest of your monsters. Swordswoman floats into, well, basically, it's like a laddering thing, and the only thing that isn't going to be able to float with this on the field is Baby Tiger, and it floats by itself just fine. So, yeah, the attack boost, well, a little insignificant, is surprisingly helpful, actually. It does clash with Swordswoman a little bit, I will say that. But, honestly, it's great. It lets you play through some very weird disruptions that you will be seeing in the replays. But, yeah. I enjoy having this. Makes you just big enough to beat over certain things. gives you some recoverability, so solid stuff, solid stuff. Now we have the trap, Amazoness Ambush. It's continuous, and it says once per turn during the battle phase, you can special summon an Amazoness from your hand, and if you do, it gains 500 attack till the end of this turn, even if this leaves the field. And after damage calculation, if your Amazoness monster battled an opponent's monster while this card is already face up in your spell and trap zone, you can banish the opponent's monster, and if it on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can target an Amazoness in your graveyard special summon. So it lets you out problems, is essentially what it comes down to. It gives the deck a lot of needed speed in the battle phase. It makes Queen all kinds of fantastic. And it really does help to have that little bit more attack points with this deck. So run it free. It's very searchable, so you maybe don't have to, but I like to have it free just in case. Now we get to the extra deck, which is kind of insignificant. So we'll go over some of the stable stuff first. We have our Nightmare package, Swarm Ship, because we like to summon some. Borals, Boral Load for stealing things and being a problem. Boral Sword for OTKing, because this deck, like, it can OTK with a little bit of time, but it's not super consistent with it. It's better beat down, better beat down. Now we have free Mrs. Radiant. We have all Earth monsters, so it's very easy to make her and power up our Amazonesses to go in for those big swings. Then we have free Empress and free Pet Laggers. So Empress is the better of the two. Requires an Amazoness Queen and an Amazoness monster. It says that all your other Amazoness cards cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. If your Amazoness monster attacks a defense position monster, you inflict piercing. And if it's destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect while in its owner's control, it floats into a queen. So again, if you're building more of like a fusion focused build, you really only need one queen and free princess, and you pretty much have all you're ever gonna need. But it's a very good card. It protects your Amazonesses. Wish it protected itself, but you can float into multiple things with village. Queen can protect it decently well. Ambush, everything becomes a problem when you use ambush. So with it, so yeah, very good card, very good card. Now, arguably less good, but still pretty okay. Amazon's Pet Liger requires Tiger and an Amazon's monster, and once per battle, if it attacks during damage calculation, you can give it 500 attack during damage calc only. And if your Amazon Oh, sorry about that. Nose is being weird. And if your Amazon's monster attacks an opponent's monster after damage calc, you enter a face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 800 attack. Your opponent cannot attack Amazon's monsters you control except this one. So, it sets up a lock with Tiger. I guess it's honestly not all that good, but it does have its niche uses. I couldn't think of anything else I really wanted to run in place of two or more, but definitely keep this at one because it's not awful and it is situationally useful. Now the extra deck, a little boring on this one. A little bit boring, not gonna lie. But it's not bad. So we have a little bit of trap hate with the red reboot because again, trap and stun decks are kind of coming back. Imperial Order. We don't necessarily need our spell traps a whole lot, so we can go without them if we absolutely have to. It's not a big deal. Anti-spell fragrance, definitely working more on that spell trap hate because spell traps are a problem with this deck. Effect destruction really does hurt, and a lot of that comes from spells. We have a couple board wipes in the form of Dark Hole for that Mystic Mind matchup, and Raigeki because it's a beatdown deck, and Raigeki's good, except if you have Swordswoman, then you want to be hit. So don't. If you're using Swordswoman, don't use Raigeki. If you're not using Swordswoman, use Raigeki. That's kind of how it works. So yeah, and we have two Kaijus in the form of Kumungus and Gamecill. We chose two Kaijus on this one, mostly because I didn't know what else to put in the side, but it is kind of nice to have the option of kaijuing, summoning a kaiju. The Kumungus does get powered up and outs the sea turtle boy. So it's fine. I would definitely say find something else besides 6 kaijus, but I couldn't think of anything else. So that's on you guys to figure out. But yeah, that's the deck. If you're new here, we just check out a few replays. We have 2 or 3 this time. I can't remember how many good ones I got. I guess I'll find out. But yeah, that being said, I'll see you guys in the replays. Okay, welcome to the first game where we're showing off some cool Amazonas stuff. We were playing against Lava Golem Burn. I honestly thought when I was recording this that was going to be True Draco just because there's no extra deck. But yeah, we're playing against what I figured was Lava Golem Burn, and we are gonna go first, which is a little unfortunate, but yeah, so you might have noticed, not exactly a powerful play, but it is pretty good actually. If our opponent sends something to the graveyard for effect, we have the called. We have the floating ability of Village, which will let us float into our Princess to get a search. And Swordswoman is here, so to beat it over, friend player here is going to have to take a little damage. And we are Heracles, by the way, because the story of Hercules, one of his 10 trials was to get the girdle of the Amazonian queen, and it's just it's a fun historical reference. So yeah, that's our turn. Our opponent is going to set Penguin Soldier, Trap Tricks, Trap Hole, Nightmare, and Threatening Roar. So I imagine this is a good play for him. I don't know why I didn't set the Scapegoat, but okay, yeah. So yeah, we're gonna keep going. Go ahead, special summon Spy. Given what he is up against, I was a little concerned that this was gonna be like some form of like Inspector Border or something. So Amazoness Tiger summoned. It is rather large because it gains 400 attack for each Amazoness card, including itself. So that's going to be a grand total of let's see, 400, 800, 1200, 1600 gains. So that I felt very confident at this point that we would be able to beat over anything he had set. So Threatening Roar is coming down though, so we're not attacking. And here's the Lava Golem. So he puts the Lava Golem in defense position, flips the Penguin Soldier. Soldier's going to bounce itself and Lava Golem back. He sets the Hippo Carnival. Honestly, not sure why he put the Lava Golem back. He could have later, but okay. So yeah, we're going to go ahead. We got Rhoda. Rhoda for Princess. Princess to search Call. Use Call to search Ambush. Go to the battle phase. Force out some back row. We're going to be taking out 2 hippos here. And we are also going to be dropping our extra village with Princess's effect to get a queen on board. So that is battle protection for all our Amazonas. I decided to drop the ambush because he was playing a lot of super annoying cards, so I wanted to go ahead and handle that back row. We are going to get hit by the trap hole though. But we did get rid of the back row. Our queen is still on board, so that is all good for us. So he goes to set the Penguin Soldier. I figured he was going to. So we draw ambush, pretty good. So yeah, I went ahead and got that out of the way. The ambush is fine because we can always special summon our queen from hand next turn, so I wasn't too worried about that. So card D is happening. Gonna go ahead and call it. Activate the ambush. So he's going to end his turn with a set Scapegoat. And from here, we summon Swordswoman, enter battle phase, use Ambush to summon Queen. Queen will attack, Scapegoat is happening. So he's just really defending at this point. We're still kind of wary of the Lava Golem. I decided to take the chance because I thought we could get some big damage here. So that was probably a bad play on my part. He's going to go ahead and Lava Golem, which is fair. He's going to burn us a little bit. We're just going to take advantage, take out those cheap tokens. I'm going to let it run for a few turns here just because not much really happens outside of summoning monsters and me getting burnt. So go ahead and handle the Marshmallow. Thankfully, we had the ambush to banish the Marshmallow so we don't have to worry about its effect. Well, it's non-destruction by battle anyways. So it's good to get that out of the way. Card D coming down, drawing 2. He does have a very good defensive hand here. So we're getting burned again. At this point we could link away the Lava Golem, but I want to try to go for damage. So set the called. We're in a good spot here. So now he has triple Battle Fader, which is unfortunate. And Hey, it's Angel. She is a acquaintance. We're talking about D&D. I will talk to her later. So yeah, we're gonna keep getting burned here. Uh, we're just summoning monsters at this point, trying to build the OTK. Trying to preserve this lava golem as much as we can, just for the 3K body. So we're gonna take down all of his hippos though, which is pretty solid stuff. So we did draw the Trap Hole Nightmare, which is unfortunate for us. We're going to go in Twin Twisters because we're not fusion summoning anything. Battle Fader coming down, so we gotta play through a few of those, unfortunately. The Scrap Iron Scarecrow was scary. Call, though, pretty solid. Get Princess. Princess gets us the ambush again. We can use the Cerberus to handle the Battle Fader. Then we go right into attack, which also got rid of the Golem, which is pretty sick, actually. But we did get the effect, thankfully, to get our Queen out, as well as Tiger for the summon. So at this point, we're just gonna keep going. We got a field full of monsters. Attack, the Battle Fader happened again, unfortunately. I am curious what this guy's win con is, actually. I'm gonna look. I can't actually look at his deck, okay. Alright, so yeah, at this point we're in a very good spot. We're gonna just go ahead and tribute over the Princess for another Queen for a little more damage. The Scarecrow comes down. We call that Scarecrow. That Scarecrow shouldn't be here. Scrap Iron Scarecrow again happens. The Rainbow Karibo, regular Karibo. Friend is out of resources, and why can't I look at his deck? Okay, can I look at it now? Apparently not. Okay, so that's weird. I'll figure that out later. But yeah, gets another Scrap Iron Scarecrow. He's in an okay spot. We summon Princess again. Princess gets his call, and at this point, he cannot stop all this damage and was likely going to lose. So, Amazon is, as long as you can get Ambush and Princess, generally speaking, pretty high speed deck. Pretty good beatdown stuff going on here. But we're going to show you next duel is going to be another interesting kind of win. It will show the power of Amazon's village. So, yeah, I'll see you guys there. Now, on to the second replay. Turns out the replay I was going to use is no longer on my YGO Pro, so I'm going to have to figure that out. But, yeah. Instead, we're going over one of this deck's big weaknesses, which is slowing down or losing the battle phase. So we're playing it some Necrons. They have those nice utility effects. So he's going first as well. He is about to pop off. I'm not going to pretend I understand Necron's plays. They are too intense for me. But this deck is a little bit interesting, though. It's Necron's Prediction Princesses, which is pretty neat. But yes, so our opponent set up a decent board. He's got some disruption in the form of Tarot Tray, the Unicorn, locking down extra deck monsters, as well as 2 Valk to stop the battle phase, which is kind of a problem, but not initially, mostly because we do have ourselves the Call by the Grave, but we did open up very well. So Spy, Tiger, Princess is like almost perfect, because that lets us plus pretty easily. Went ahead and went into the battle phase so we could use the Princess effect to try to get the attack off. So we're going to activate Princess's effect. He's going to Valk. We call the Valk by sending Baby Tiger to the graveyard. Basically traded it for a Queen. He is going to stop that attack, unfortunately. But I still felt pretty okay about this. So he's going to go ahead and search more Prediction Princesses. The Dinko Sek is coming down. More Necros plays are happening. Decided not to attack, which was fair. I mean, he couldn't destroy anything anyway, so it's like, I get it. So the Twin Twisters is dead. But we do get a Tiger back. Here I did misplay hard. I forgot about the Unicorn. Not going to lie about that. That was very embarrassing. Very not good play on my part. So yeah, that did mess me up a lot. So he's gonna Valk. Our battle phase is stopped yet again. The Twin Twister, not very helpful. Mass Foolish to get searches. Dinko Sekka, really just harming us. He's gonna go ahead and get searches for ritual monsters. I'm not gonna lie, Prediction Princess is surprisingly synergetic. And I got the Ariel, Priestess of Necros. Let's see, what's this do? Let's see. If this is tribute by a card effect, you can add a Necros monster from your deck to your hand, except a ritual monster. Okay, okay. Uh, yeah, so that's pretty good. Surge is the Shuret. Trishing us. So we lost Queens. He did take a little bit of damage. He did get to float, thankfully, to get the search for the call, which is pretty good. We are taking some damage, though. Terror Tray is going to be special summoning the Crystal Dean. So we are in a spot of bother here. We're not too worried at the moment. We tried to bait some stuff out, so that worked out perfectly fine, kind of. Defensive Wall is here, stops our floating ability, which sucks. Going ahead and searching that Decisive Armor for that Honest-like effect. So attacking over, Spy is going to get us our Princess back. But we're dead, so it doesn't really matter. So, as you saw, our opponent, he just kept us out of the battle phase. That's really how you beat this deck, unfortunately. Keep them out of the battle phase. Because that's really the only time this deck does anything is in the battle phase, so you kinda really need that. But yeah, so there is one more replay I want to go over, just showing some. Our opponent did scoop early in that one, but it does show some potential turn one plays that can be done with ambush. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys there. Okay, so welcome to the final replay with Egg. He is playing a Rocket Guard Dragons, it looks like. So, or Galaxy Satellite Dragon. I don't know what that is. I'll look at that later. But yeah, he's playing Rocket Guard Dragon. Pretty solid build, pretty solid build. And we are going first here. So we're going to go ahead and search the poly, summon Princess to get the call, use call to search the ambush, use polymerization on these two to get the Empress, then just set these two and we're good. So we do have a ambush set, which is pretty solid. Designator, this is nice. Twin in hand just in case. And Empress will float into Queen. I partially did this expecting him to destroy this somehow, honestly. But he never did. He scooped one. But I'd expected him to destroy this somehow, so I could float into Queen, then activate Ambush, and start going to work on his rockets, banishing them so they don't float during the end phase. So he's going to go ahead and do those sick rocket plays for the boot sector search. He's going to target. I went ahead and banished the silver rocket so that he is just popping himself pretty much. He does get a summon though anyways. The Tracer's going to pop for another. And he stopped there. At that point, I'm not sure what I expected him to do. But our plan here was to let him destroy Empress, to float into Queen, activate the ambush, and be just good to go. But yeah, so those are the replays. This was the deck. Very sorry again that I couldn't show you the really cool village replay I got. I guess I need to work on it with my YGO Pro. But yeah, it's a very cool beatdown style deck. Unfortunately though, it doesn't really do a whole lot without ambush. That's the one thing I really noticed, and that's awkward because it's a trap in a deck that is not ideal to traps. But yeah, let me know what you think. Is there any ways I could make my Amazonesses better? Any tips for Swordswoman OTK, because that video is coming. And just generally anything you want me to do, because I'm down to try most decks. But yeah, that being said, like if you liked, comment if you have something to say, and subscribe if you want some more. This has been Ronin, signing off.